Hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to do this live stream for quite some time, but I've been kind of contemplating what to discuss and cover, really. So, this live stream is going to be about moving on from the global pandemic and doing that through unity through diversity. I think this is going to be one of the key approaches that we will need to take to move forward. And I just wanted to take some time initially to acknowledge both sides of the debate or opinion about this situation. There seems to be 2 to 3 groups approaching this situation. So I wanted to first acknowledge each side and each side's opinion, and then pose some questions that you could both ask yourselves, both groups. Ask yourself some questions to help yourself consider how you want to move on and what that kind of new world is going to look like. So I know we've had a lot of debates about a lot of arguments being put forward by people who were pro the injections and who are contemplating being pro the injection mandates. And I've heard a lot of people expressing their fear of death. Either death for themselves, being afraid of their own death, or being afraid of the death of their loved ones. And these are all very relevant questions because it really cuts to the core of beingness and what does that mean to die, to no longer be here. So we are all going to die eventually. But the question is, how are we going to live our life before that happens? So I wanted to, you to ask yourself some questions. So in terms of optimizing your you living, what personal responsibility are you taking for improving and optimizing your health? Are you eating well, looking after your body, exercising, living a minimal stress-free lifestyle? Or are you finding yourself sitting on the couch, eating rubbish, staying up late, and compromising your own immune system? If so, are you then choosing to rely on something outside of yourself to bolster your immunity? So, are you relying on the injections to bolster your immunity rather than also taking responsibility for your own well-being? So you solely going to be relying on things outside of yourself to tell you what to do and how to take care of your health, like governments or medical authorities. Is what is available out there in terms of the injections the very best option for you? So that's the first question that I wanted you to ask. And for those who've joined me on this live stream, hello and welcome. I really welcome your feedback and comments to this. And if you feel that this is a useful debate that we're about to have, then please like, share, and subscribe. So the second question I wanted to ask the people who are pro the injections and possibly pro the injection mandates is, once you feel like you've established your health, right? Or gotten to a point where you feel safer and not so afraid of dying or your loved ones dying, the question I want to ask you is, how do you then want to live your life? How do you want to live your life in this world? Do you want to live a life where, at the drop of a hat, as soon as there is a health concern or health problem, that you take the latest injection, pill, or so on? Do you want to live in a society where we are increasingly being more technologically monitored in terms of our health? Do you want to live in a society which is already beginning to happen in some places in the world, like in Austria and Australia, where people are living in segregation? So, people who've decided not to go for the injection have been segregated. So, I'm sure a lot of you will have seen the internment camps in Australia. And also, you've seen how Austria has decided to lock down those who decided not to go for the vaccine. So, this sounds scarily reminiscent of our world in the run up to the Second World War. So, just to kind of remind you, we did have the Nazi authoritarian regime in Germany, where the Nazis did segregate certain populations, um, the Jews, other groups, and decided to ostracize them and treat them less than human. And they did use machines to very meticulously record all the different ethnic groups and even sexuality and orientation. Some of you might know or be aware that IBM was supplying computer technologies to the Nazis to assist them with doing this job. So, the question I wanted to ask you is, do you want to live in a world where there are certain groups of people who are considered less than, who are demonized or ostracized? Is that how you wish to live? And this then comes to, you know, me talking to the other side of this debate. Just to finish the last point. Now, I know a couple of years ago when everything kicked off globally, most people were saying, "Oh, we don't need to worry about injection mandates or passports or anything like that." But it's now happened, and it's happened a lot quicker than we imagined. So it's a relevant point to say, okay, we didn't think we'd get to here, but we are here now in a lot of places around the world. And do we want to continue along this path that some countries have decided to go to? And this points to the question of demonizing or ostracizing other people or other points of view. So I want to now, so those are the questions to ask. Are you taking personal responsibility for your health? And once you've established good health, how do you want to live in what kind of world? Yeah. So now I really want to speak to the other part of the debate here. So these are people who have been generally skeptical about the injections or the injection mandates, and are more likely to be for a pro bespoke approach to health. And their point of view is that one size approach doesn't fit all because we all have a unique body and constitution. Another concern that they have is, going into a more potentially authoritarian or tyrannical style of living where we no longer have personal freedom to decide what we do with our bodies. And the consequences that might lead to that, which is segregation, ostracization, and being demonized and excluded from society. So I also have two questions for you. The first question is about personal freedom and personal responsibility. So you want to have the freedom to make your own choices about your health. Okay. Are you also willing to take personal responsibility of any actions that you might take that might affect elderly or vulnerable people? So when I talk about freedom, I do talk about the context within which we have personal freedom. So we can all have the freedom to go out and do whatever we like. However, there are other people in the world, and we also need to be mindful of, is our action going to have a consequence for someone else? So this isn't simply personal freedom without any responsibility. It's personal freedom whilst being mindful of the consequences to other people. So it sounds a bit, how can I say it? It sounds a bit contradictory by saying, well, we can just have freedom to do whatever we want, no matter what. And at the same time, we have an impact on each other and it's on each other's lives. So, and I've also noticed with this group of people that some people in this camp also have a tendency to demonize, ostracize, or question the other side's point of view without kind of going into explanation, proper explanation, and being mindful to hear the concerns of the other side. So what I'm seeing here is both camps are falling into a particular trap, which I'm going to get into after I've asked the second question. To those who are reluctant to take the injections. So for you, I have a similar question. So once you've established your freedom to decide what happens to your body, how do you also want to live? Are you just wanting to live however you want to live in pure anarchy, and do you want to just have your personal freedom at possibly the expense of others? And how are you intending to be mindful of those who do have a compromised health system, who are suffering right now? So something to ask yourself. Yeah. And I will check the comments box in a little while. I'm just going to make a few final points and then I'm going to read what any of you might have said. So the way I'm looking at this situation is both camps have fallen into a bit of a trap because the other does not validate, adhere, or acknowledge the other's point of view. There is this tendency to demonize one another and to ostracize one another, which is not very helpful because after all, we do share a commonality. We do share our humanity with each other, and we have to find a way to work through this situation, because I think we can all agree that all of us want to get back to living our lives, and we all want to find a way to move forward and continue to live together. I think most people would want that. So I'm gonna throw out some ideas, some suggestions of how we might be able to do this. And I'm going to take my background as a former human rights activist into account. So I just want to set the scene again, going back to World War II, where we had a global war and we had two camps fighting each other. And we were fighting, authoritarian regimes. And after the war was fought, we realized as a human species, we all realized after having gone through two world wars that we didn't want to be in this scenario again where we were fighting each other and demonizing each other. So we decided to come together and create what you might call a common way of living together, a common code of conduct, or even a moral code. And out of this came the international human rights treaties and legislations. And I would just want to remind everybody that actually this is an amazing feat that was created. Why? Because we had groups coming from different religious beliefs, different countries, different cultural values, different norms coming together, and nevertheless being able to form a common ground, a common agreement as to how we wanted to live and how we wanted to treat one another, including responsibilities of government to their people. So, what I want to remind everybody is, with all the diversity in the world, we've done this once before. I think we could do this again. Could we not find a way where we can come to the table and all discuss and have an agreement on the way to move forward in terms of our health and the medical environment that we're living in? Because we've now gone to absolutely experiencing a global pandemic. Uh, it might not be the first or the last time. So, how are we going to continue to live? Because obviously, shutting down the economy long term or for very, very extended periods of time, really isn't going to work. It's not working, and a lot of people have lost their livelihoods. So, using lockdowns as a strategy is really becoming not a useful long-term strategy. But we need to find a way forward. And I'm saying, why don't we build on our existing human rights principles by agreeing, do we still want to live in a world free from tyranny? And, whereas before this was kind of ethnic or political tyranny in Nazi Germany, now we're dealing with a situation of potential medical tyranny. So, are we all in agreement? Do we still want to live in a world free from tyranny? Do we still want to have personal decision making about our own bodies, our own health? Um, and at the same time, do we need to expand on the human rights treaties to include responsibilities? Yeah. Do we need to start to include some um, agreements on personal responsibility and collective responsibility? Could we not come together like we have done before from different countries, different religions, different beliefs, and create something like this. So I'm saying, do we need to reaffirm our commitment to human rights? Do we need to expand on them? And do we need also some bills or treaties or codes of conduct for personal and collective responsibility? Now, we do have the social and economic treaties, international treaties, but these are mostly based, the responsibility is mostly placed on government. We are now living in a world where corporations have far more power and leverage than governments have. And the ordinary human being, the ordinary citizen, also still retains phenomenal amount of power. And I think we are forgetting that all these institutions are here to serve us and to help us to live our best lives possible. So how can we come together and reassert the way that we wish to live, rather than handing over our power or giving away responsibility to somebody else who's going to make those kind of decisions for us? So I think these are all relevant questions. I'm done speaking now. It's been about 21 minutes, 21 seconds. So I'm now going to go and check any comments that people have made. So I'm now going to... Okay, let's have a look at the live chat and see what people are saying. So for those who are watching, what are your thoughts, your opinions? Maybe you're busy typing away. I'm just going to check on YouTube. So I'm streaming to both YouTube and Facebook now. So I'm just going to check on YouTube. So I'm streaming to both YouTube. Okay. So hopefully I know what I'm doing here. I'm just going to check here as well. So I don't see any live comments at the moment. Maybe more will come on board after I've published this video. If so, yeah, let's have a conversation on how we can move forward and still acknowledge our diversity in opinion respectfully, and have a proper discussion on how we can move forward. So to all of you who have been watching live, thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. But for now, I am wishing you a wonderful day. Take care for now.